Should have known I was going to do another piece on COVID. I'm tired of complaining about Dr. Fauci and the fact that I still say he'll be gone soon because of the bad information he's put out. But today I want to talk about your diet and COVID. And two pieces of information that came out, one out of a university called Swansea, no clue where that is, the other one from the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, looking at immune system damage. Why are some people getting this so quickly? Why are some people not getting it at all? Why are some people getting it and not really having any difficulties in managing to just rebound right through it? It's a question everybody's been asking, but I want to start out with this piece on your diet. So I'm going to ask you, how's your diet? Are you consuming a lot of sugar, a lot of excess sugar? Are you one that thinks you can get away with eating excess sugar all the time? And it's a fact. Now, we've talked in the past about fructose and sugar and glucose and high levels accumulating for a problem with diabetes, weight gain, a lot of different issues. This new piece of information says people who consume a diet high in fructose, this includes high fructose corn syrup, could risk damaging their immune system and make them more prone toward things like COVID. New research by Swansea scientists in collaboration with the scientists at the University of Bristol has indicated that consuming a diet high in the sugar fructose might prevent the proper functioning of a person's immune system in a way that has until now largely been unknown. Fructose is commonly found in sugary drinks, sweets, processed foods, cookies, snacks, used widely in food production. It's associated with obesity, type 2 diabetes, and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And its intake has increased substantially throughout the developed world in recent years, and actually has increased dramatically since we've all been locked down with COVID. So it goes on to say, this new study, which was published in the Journal of Nature Communications, shows that fructose causes the immune system to become inflamed, and that process produces more reactive molecules, which are associated with inflammation. Inflammation of this kind will go on to damage cells and tissue and contribute to organ and body systems not working as they should, and will lead to disease. What's the bottom line word there? Fructose, inflammation. Understanding the impact of fructose on the immune system of people who consume it in high levels had been very limited until now. The research also brings a deeper understanding of how fructose could be linked to diabetes and obesity, as low-level inflammation has been associated with obesity. And I've said over and over again, that brilliant scientific journal called Time Magazine, which is just a liberal rag, actually, back in 2002, I think it was June of 2002, had an entire edition dedicated to the word inflammation. And even though that's not a scientific journal, the people that did write that article said, could this be the breakthrough that medicine's been looking for decades? That inflammation is the root of all disease. Dr. Nick Jones of Swansea University Medical School said, quote, research into different components of our diets can help us understand what might contribute to inflammation and disease and what could be best harnessed to improve health and well-being. Dr. Emma Vincent of the Bristol Medical School said, our study is exciting because it takes us a step further toward understanding why diets like this will lead to ill health and make you more susceptible to COVID. Nature's communication. Why do some people get it? Why do some people not? I don't know about you. And again, I don't want this to be taken as a degrading kind of comment. But daily you see these pictures flash on a screen of a mother that has passed away from COVID, of a father that has passed away from COVID, of people that have passed away from COVID. And, you start to pay attention to this, and what do you see as one of the most common threads? And again, I don't mean to degrade anybody, but almost every single time you see those pictures, the person is morbidly obese. That contributes dramatically to inflammation in the body. How bad is their diets? What got them to this point? I can't believe that virtually 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week in talking to people, they'll say, I don't know, they changed my antidepressant from Paxil to Prozac and I gained a boatload of weight. What do you suggest, Len? Watch what you eat. You don't gain weight out of the air. You gain weight by what you put in. And the lack of a burn. Will those kind of medications affect your metabolism? Naturally, which means you need to cut back a bit. Story number 2 from the Karolinska Institute. And I've been talking a lot in the last probably 3 months about mitochondria. And I'm sure you've heard me talk about mitochondria and the little power cells inside of every single cell in our body that produces the energy to keep us alive, which makes us different than any other mammal, any other plant. For those that say we evolutionized from a worm, God knew what he was doing when he built us. Disorders of the cell's energy supply, that's the mitochondria, can cause a number of serious diseases, but also seems to be connected to aging. More research is needed on mitochondrial functioning to find future treatments. A new study involved researchers at Karolinska Institute shows how important molecules inside the mitochondria affect their function in mice and fruit flies. So again, this is one of those, the poor little fruit flies that have a system that is obviously somewhat similar to us, as do mice, that they can check mitochondrial functioning. The study was published in the Journal of Science Advances, adds valuable knowledge to a formerly relatively unexplored protein modification. So what was it that made things different? What are you doing that can affect your mitochondria? We've talked about some of the factors: diet, exercise, nutrition, genetics. You can go down the whole line. And when you see that a family tie to something autoimmune, a family tie to cardiovascular disease, a family tie to a structure function, spinal health, and you sit back and say, is it inevitable that I will change into that? Well, it all depends on your genetic material inside of that mitochondria. So could you literally, by doing a few specific things, turn around mitochondrial functioning? Let me read on. Each cell of the body is an organ called a mitochondrion, which converts nutrients in our food to energy, like a furnace. Mitochondria are an essential part of the metabolism, and when things go wrong, we develop serious disease. Mitochondrial dysfunction is a hallmark of a group of rare genetic disorders, but can also be observed in common diseases, such as diabetes, heart disease, neurodegenerative diseases, and actually the normal aging process. Those of you that are out there looking for that magic anti-aging stuff, pay attention to mitochondrial functioning, and there are certain ways that you can actually improve that. One of those is called D-ribose, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Researchers at the Karolinska Institute, the Max Planck Institute for Biology and Aging in Cologne, and the University of California, San Diego have now studied the methylation of proteins, which affects different mitochondrial processes. Methylation. I've talked about this and how important it is. And I don't care how healthy you are, but for a relatively inexpensive, I think it's $79 or so, to do a saliva test to find out if you have any genetic flaws that could lead to problems with methylation, which could lead problems to mitochondrial health, which could make you more susceptible to COVID and other serious disease. I've checked myself, and I do have what they call snippets in the DNA that do not allow me to metabolize folic acid properly. My methylation is off, but I am supplementing around that. Methylation is a chemical modification in which a methyl group, CH3, is added to a molecule, thereby potentially affecting its function. S-adenomethionine, SAMe, also known as Adomet, is the main methyl group donator within the cell, including inside the mitochondria. Could adding straight methionine to your diet every day, supplementally, affect energy levels and start to repair mitochondrial functioning? We're interested in studying this particular molecule since the production of SAMe changes in cancer and when we age. Mom had breast cancer, dad had prostate cancer. Could this be an opportunity for you to practice a little defensive shield so that you don't follow that same path? By completely removing SAMe from the mitochondria of fruit flies and mice, the researchers have been able to study the process in which the mitochondria are dependent on methylation. Earlier studies have shown that both SAMe and cellular energy drops during aging. Our study suggests a link between these two pathways by demonstrating how low SAM levels can influence mitochondrial energy production. The study has identified which of the mitochondrial proteins are methylated and how methylation affects them, and how these modifications might affect mitochondrial function. The researchers also demonstrated the physiological consequences of the lack of some changes. Our study has provided an indication that some modifications can be modulated by diet. We need to continue examining if we can change the pathological processes for the better, says Anna Redenberg. So far, we've only looked at protein changes, but other molecules can be modified by intramitochondrial SAM. We have to study these modifications to get a better understanding of the role it plays. The study was founded by the Swedish Research Institute. And again, unfortunately, you don't see too many of these studies showing up here in the United States. But there it is. If you're concerned about COVID, if that's the top defensive thing that you need to do, we need to look at various things. Cleaning fructose out of your diet, period. And then looking at mitochondrial functioning. So, you need help with this, call and set up your own personal time at 678-228-8900, 678-228-8900, or check us out on our website at the Nutrition Shop, SHOPPE.net. A lot of new things coming here at the Nutrition Shop. Make sure you keep tuned in to us every single day. Have a great, healthy day, folks. God bless you, and I'll see you back here soon. Take care.